Welcome to the Blockchain Ireland Summit 2025 on-site podcast brought to you by Provenance. My name is Sebastian Grube and I am the co-chair of the Event and Communications Working Group at Blockchain Ireland. With me now, our guest, Andrew Mulvenny, General Manager at Trading Platform at Kraken Digital Assets Exchange.
Thanks, Sebastian. Great to be here.
Thank you, Andrew, for joining us. What brought you to our Blockchain Ireland Summit 2025 and why now?
Well, First, it's an amazing event. So we've had some really great talks so far this morning. I think obviously for us, Kraken, we have a strong presence here, not only in Ireland but in Europe. We always try to engage with the ecosystem. It's incredibly important to us. We're a sponsor of Blockchain Ireland, so given 2025 feels like a real pivotal moment of only not, as we were saying, more and more adoption, but as we see more and more regulatory clarity with MiCA coming on board as well at the beginning of the year there. I just felt like, this is a really good time to show our presence and interact with the community and ecosystem here in Ireland.
Amazing, yeah. And it's this through line of clarity is coming through in the other conversations that we're having, which is really nice to hear you.
Yeah, I think it's a testament. We to start the day, we had, the El Salvador regulator coming to speak. We had VARA here as well. And yes, definitely that theme of rules and clarity. And I think Deepa from VARA mentioned, it's important for businesses to have that certainty of that operating environment as well. So, with MiCA in Europe, I think that gives us that.
Yeah. What are you expecting to get out of the conference? What are you hoping for today and tomorrow?
Yeah, well, personally to learn a little bit more. As I said, it's interesting. There's conversations this morning. I'm just out of the talk there with some really cool discussions on AI and agents and payments within crypto, and then here to meet participants in the ecosystem, show what Kraken's about, network, etc. Yeah.
Amazing. It leads me perfectly into my next question. What is Kraken up to for 2025? What are your goals? What are you looking forward to in this year?
It's a really pivotal year for us. We've had a lot of exciting announcements recently. I think, obviously it's, Europe is an incredibly important market for us. So it's to continue to strengthen our brand, our reputation here through licensing, etc. And then it's about, our focus of, not only bringing more people into the world of crypto on our platform, but also continuing to expand in that, people discuss the lines blurring between, traditional finance and digital finance, but we really want to see that line, disappear. And I think some of what we've introduced this year. So recently there, we announced the partnership Kraken Embed with Bunq, where, Bunq customers in Europe can now purchase assets on the Bunq platform that's powered by Kraken. We've recently just launched regulated derivatives out of Europe as well in the last week. And there's quite a lot. So we also, I think, to the point of that collapsing that line between traditional finance and digital finance, we made one of the largest acquisitions by a crypto company recently, where we acquired NinjaTrader in the US, which is one of the largest US futures retail business. And I think, that's a very pivotal moment, because it shows where we believe the industry is going, where we're now going to have, traditional financial products, those customers, that platform interacting with our, crypto platform, our exchange, etc. And then the last one, which just came last week, was the announcement about the launching Tokenised Equities. So we'll be launching that in the rest of the world, not in Europe immediately, or the US. But I think that's, a very exciting moment, because that's obviously, tokenization has been a very popular topic in crypto over the last year, and that again is I think is a really important moment of evolution and innovation in this space, where people, there's a lot more ownership in equities investing now, and then this takes us to the next step, where it's on chain 24/7. You own that collateral, you can use it for different products, which I think sets us up for that next wave of innovation.
Amazing. That was a lot of announcements.
Yes,
You've been busy.
yeah, it's busy, and I think
Yeah.
in the crypto space, I think it's at that pace of innovation. You have to just focus on shipping the products that customers want and gaining that traction.
Yeah, and expanding the accessibility to the everyday retail customer.
Yeah,
I think one of the key points. It's great.
I think even if you look in the last 20-25 years of how financial products have the accessibility has created, I think the technology of blockchain and what we're doing as a company can really accelerate that accessibility and adoption.
Yeah, amazing. Where do you think there is real world traction for blockchain technology at the moment in the coming months or years? And what do you think still is hype?
Yeah, so I think looking back in maybe previous blockchain conferences, we've always been looking forward to the potential use cases and the adoption. And I think in 2025, we're actually really starting to see that the fruition of that and it come to be real life. And I think one aspect of that is obviously the regulatory environment. So getting that clarity of increases trust, increases accessibility, increases adoption. So we're seeing now more and more institutional partners come on board. I know, like in the recent year, we've had the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, etc., out of the US. I think the tokenized equities, which is launching, as we said, imminently for the rest of the world on Kraken on the Solana blockchain. I think that's going to be an example of real traction.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like in the last year, we've seen the huge growth of stable coins that are now, although they have been around for a number of years, we've seen like real traction in how they're used. We've seen more traditional players such as like the Stripes of the world make acquisitions and into that. We've partnered with the likes of MasterCard to issue cards and things like that. And I think that the two things I'd say is the tokenization and the stable coins is the real example.
Yeah. And if we were to have this conversation again next year at the Blockchain Ireland Summit 2026, what do you hope would have changed in our space at that stage?
I think, Luke, the current trajectory that we're on is where we obviously would like to continue. I think from the regulatory landscape point of view, we'll see the embedding of MiCA within Europe that will also then hopefully drive a set of innovation and new companies launching here. Then obviously a lot of other jurisdictions around the world, the US, the UK are bringing on their regulations. That'll again increase the adoption and new participants coming to the market. And then interestingly, I was just looking at the topics that we talked about in Blockchain Ireland last year, and there was a real focus on CBDCs. And now this year it's it's more about stable coins, tokenization. So I think it's very hard to predict what will be the next topic next year per se, but I'm hope that I'm sitting here and we will see that for example, tokenized equities have taken off and have grown into the billions, and we're seeing more and more users using them, and they've become a large part of the market.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you everyone for listening. It was great to have you here, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.